It's your boy Gary in the house. So I'm back again, and I'm back talking about uh, watching the documentary, the Chris Benoit documentary, which is a pretty great documentary. I'm gonna give you a link. Documentary, The Dark Side of the Ink, which is pretty good documentary. I really talk about that thing. I'm gonna give shout out to that things. You know what I mean? But it's really sad. And I think I recommend it. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do a review about. So I watched the movie. Big Chris Benoit fan. So I watched the documentary. Things that I saw was kind of exposing to E. You know what I mean? We're talking about. I'm gonna give shots to Dark Horse and Particle Champ, Michael Sean Post. I'm gonna give a shout to those guys because when I see the documentary of it, I'm probably talking about when it's supposed to more is documentary of Chris Benoit, Nancy Benoit. Probably talking about Nancy Benoit. After Benoit's second documentary, talking about how to expose the dirty willingness parts as a joke. You know what I mean? And gonna do a review about it. Why I like this one, why I don't like this one. And Nancy Benoit before that, Nancy Benoit, talking about the women's policy. Why I think Dark Horse actually Dark Horse destroyed the Smart Busters and Political Champ. Shout out to those guys. They said what I thought the women's policy is a joke. And there was debate years ago. Check out Dark Horse video they had years ago. You know, Nancy Benoit said she said the tags on Benoit's death was Benoit wasn't Chris Benoit's depression. I'm too much review. Why I liked it, why I don't. Think I love. But the winners policy was a joke. Said the winners policy is a joke. Kind of say what you said years ago. Kill Eddie Guerrero. But the dirty one on this policy is a joke. We are both new age detective Chris Benoit. So we're talking about the whole issue. So I'm gonna give it a link. But to really kind of open my eyes more with the dirty winners policy. You know, I kind of the dark horse stuff. But it puts the point. It posts the point. And when Nancy Benoit, if you watch the first two ones, I recommend the second one. If you're into WWE stuff, if you're into WWE, why you think WWE? Drug test is a joke. You know what I mean? I want you guys to check that out. But I want to give you guys a shout out to Dark Horse. But because they said they called it last year. And I love the documentary. It was a great documentary. I love it. You know, I mean, when I saw a documentary of the Williams policy, I'm gonna talk the Williams policy. It kind of thought about like Nancy Benoit was said about when it's text message to Chris Benoit saying the Williams policy, the Williams policy is a joke, and I thought about Dark Horse and Post like those guys were talking about the Williams policy for years. And it's depression. But the Williams policy is a joke. It's a joke. Everything when Nancy Benoit has proven before she died that everything what Dark Horse and Poston was saying was the truth. You know what I mean? And debating years ago. I mean, you think it's fair? You know, I'm just gonna shout it. The policy of the women's policy, you know what I mean? The women's policy, they're talking about is more facts of it, and I think the women's policy is still a joke. It still is a joke. So, proving this political champs and Dark Horse round, I'm gonna give that shot to Dark Horse and Boston, but more into it, I just think the drug testing stuff, depression. I just think this documentary talking about depression, and I kind of thought about this. Okay, If I want to talk about documentary, I'm talking about the things we do into. WWE is really bad company. I just can't stand stuff like that. And I saw a lot of things from the first one, and the first one I get to it. Second one was into it. Benoit's depression was hurtful. You know what I mean? Chris Benoit's death. When I saw him crying, tears in his eyes, when they were gonna die, and I would watch a lot of times now, and it made me think about it. Chris Benoit needed help. You know, it's a question. It's for you guys. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna show it to my friend. Do you think? Do you agree? Do you think? Do you agree with me that the E should help Chris Benoit or his friends? When I saw Chris Benoit was crying, his tears in his eyes, and whining and crying and crying and crying, Chris Benoit needed help. Chris Benoit needed help. He's going to die. Eddie Guerrero is dying. When Chris Benoit died of it, I saw that the guy was depressed. He was emotionally hurt. And though he didn't help him, I get my parents help me. So my parents helped me with depression when my grandpa passed away. And I created that I can't sense of it. The hurtful things. I think Chris Benoit's son, so Daniel Benoit was saying Chris Benoit should retire years ago. Which I agree with David Benoit said. Because it was depression of it. When everyone passed away, because Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit were gay. No, I think people out there, it was depression of it. And didn't help Chris Benoit's death, didn't help Chris Benoit's, it didn't help Chris Benoit's depression. And he was depressed, he was depression. He should have done a better job of Chris Benoit's depression. His friends should have done better. He should give Chris Benoit time to moan. And Benoit was painful. He starts crying. And Benoit started to cry more. I mean, do I think it's CTA? No, it's not CTE. The fact is, Benoit's death, it hurts. You know what I mean? I think Chris Benoit's death, the Ken Sullivan, I still think the CTA stuff, despite the child girl and Benoit, he went through a lot. And I think Chris Benoit should take a vacation off for a while because you know what he went to do? Probably talk about this depression. And I seen a lot of things. So yeah, I agree. But he had a lot of friends. Debate talk. I think so. I just think about it. And I suppose Damon Lucas' wife didn't see it. Or Vicky. Vicky should have done better. You know what I mean? And when I lost my grandfather, I died myself too. That piece of me dies. I done suicide a bunch of times when I was younger. You know what I mean? And I agree with you 100%. You know, Matt, I've been talking with him for a while. I haven't said that he should have done a better job. And I'm just doing the things I've been saying. I'm going to give credit where it's due. Debates is going to Buckbusters and Dark Horse and Poston. Poston and Dark Horse hit a home once. About the women's policy. You mean Mike also a good example. Depression, killing. This should have to kind of said the business should be opposite. Why is it do the households? Why? Like killing each other, the depression? They take care of the stars. And that's why I think that he is going down to the toilet. You know what I mean? So I just think a lot of people are dying nowadays, killing each other, suicide. What's up, Particle? What's up, Particle Champ? How you doing, buddy? Hey, doing Poston? Anything about any thoughts about Chris Benoit stuff? Watch a documentary? Do you watch Chris Benoit's documentary stuff? Alright. So, alright. I just think watching stuff and that killing stuff. I just think Benoit's documentary was real. It exposed the business a lot. So what do you think? Post thoughts about Chris Benoit's death? What do you think, Particle? Alright. So you're honest. Respect. Alright. So I'm with him for a while. But Benoit's death was kind of was talking about the one of this policy. And the thing that haunts me the most was Nancy Benoit's text. When he said that when she texted Chris Benoit's, you know what I mean? Take it on link. Nice. But nice. The Benoit stuff. The dying stuff. The Nancy Benoit's text. Can you hear? Hello? Nice. Benoit's death kind of just talking about forward what happened to its family. The WWE has not done a good job taking care of the wrestlers for the last couple of years. The CTEs, the concussions, the drug abuse. When Eddie Guerrero, I'm talking about Eddie Guerrero. Let's talk about Eddie Guerrero's death. I really want to talk about Eddie Guerrero's death too. And I'm an Eddie Guerrero fan. WWE didn't take care of Eddie Guerrero when he would die. He didn't take the drug testing. When he was the policy. You know what I mean? Then they take care of the company. And Poster, you were talking about this all the time. And you talk about this policy years ago about the deaths when they're gonna die. You know what I mean? Some had to die of dying superstars. The Benoits, Eddie Guerrero's. They have not done a good job with the wellness policy. The wellness policy is a joke. Nancy Benoit even said, you know what, the wellness policy is a joke. You know what I mean? Anyways. So let's see what this. So your mic, so yeah, is nice. Talking about the East death. Benoit's death hurted the company business. And I think okay, headphones don't work. Headphones don't work. I see. But I'm gonna give you praise. So I want you give
Hello?
Him, yeah, you there?
I got it. Yeah, I have some audio issues.
Yeah.
My headphones don't work.
That sucks. So you think about Nancy Benoit's comments to Chris Benoit's the Williams policy? Because you and Dark Horse were hitting this ballpark years ago, about the joke stuff.
I haven't paid any attention to any of that stuff, dude. All that stuff came out of Vice, so it's probably a bunch of BS anyways. So I don't keep up with that stuff. I mean, Benoit thing is what it is.
Do you hear about that?
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Nothing makes sense. It sounds like a storyline. It sounds like a media narrative. No way did this guy have a brain of an 80-year-old with dementia and still wrestle and was going to be champion. That just didn't happen.
Okay.
Even if I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, that didn't happen.
So what happened to Benoit and Guerrero?
Well, you know, any number of things could have happened. However, like I said, a lot of this stuff is made up. It's a story. You know what I'm saying? Just like everything in the media, just like this COVID-19 thing. It's they're just made up stories, dude. That's what the media does.
All right,
And are they really dead? Are they killed? I don't know.
do you hear about Benoit's?
But I can tell.
Nancy Benoit's text message. She says that she texted Chris Benoit, the E1 policy is a joke. So,
well, everybody probably knew that anyways, because the whole damn thing is kayfabe. So, for the most part, and I meant, even CM Punk has been saying that for years, so that's not a big secret. Everybody knew that the wellness policy was a joke.
It didn't hide it. So, it was a documentary. It was a good documentary. Jericho produced it.
When you look at the case, and you look at the was he a hit? I've heard, I can understand why people think that, this is quite possibly a hit. Because of the narrative. If they were to come back and give some sort of conducive story, okay, I understand. Maybe people are jumping to conclusions, but at this point, it just gets like annoying talking about Chris Benoit for me, because you're never going to convince me that the man had a brain of an 80-year-old with dementia. That's insulting, because my grandma had dementia and she was 80. She was in her 80s, so I know what they act like. And for you to give me some bullshit story that he had the brain of an 80-year-old with dementia and all the other questionable stuff around it, I'm sorry. It's just, you're insulting my intelligence, and I don't appreciate it. I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about WWE and all these people that talk about Benoit. But they'll call me a conspiracy theorist like they always do.
All right. So I think suddenly they killed Nancy Benoit when I'm watching this video, and I seen how Ken Solomon he was hitting Nancy Benoit a lot, and WWE didn't care about David Benoit, who still was suicidal. When I watched the video between when Chris Benoit was crying when Eddie Guerrero died, I think Chris Benoit was depressed. You mean? Had tears in his eyes.
Yeah, I think I've done a video on that, actually. He had a diary that he was writing for Eddie and his family. And that diary was chronicling all the events leading up to Eddie's death. You know what I'm saying? It had a bunch of information in it, and they wanted that diary. He even talked about it in interviews. And a lot of people seem to think that diary that he had on Eddie is what marked him for death by the WWE. Now, there yet again, that is one theory that should be investigated. I'm not saying that's what happened, but we should be a little bit more of an adults. Be pragmatic about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's do a real investigation instead of sitting there saying, no, he's shit. He killed his wife, his kids. Shut up. That's the end of the story. No, that's not the end of the story. Now, you can go ahead, do your little virtue signaling. You can cry about it and say, oh, well, I just don't want it. But that, at the end of the day, the story behind Chris Benoit just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Not reasonably. I wouldn't do an investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I would do an investigation on it, but I couldn't write and I have the police department in Georgia, you know what I'm saying, for that as well, in his local area. You got to blame them too, because they're just as complicit. But overall, none of this makes a lick of damn sense. You know what I'm saying? In regards to I'll say triple homicide. Let me go on record and say it's triple homicide of the Benoit family. And the only thing you've got right now is a bunch of wrestling fans, and right now they're dying off, that are just defending it because it's, oh no, they wouldn't do that. Bullshit. I mean, you have more than enough information out there. I mean, you got motive all over the fucking place to investigate it. But they didn't even try to investigate it, dude.
I agree a lot because when I was watching this documentary, it said after when the show was ended, that's a cliche how he bashed it. It's like they did a show on Benoit, and then after the show's over, they race him, and then it's kind of suspicious. Suspicious.
Yeah,
And then Eddie Guerrero's death is that's kind of big part of it too. Eddie Guerrero was dying in the arms of Chargo.
yeah.
They was part of Eddie Guerrero's death as well.
I honestly don't see Benoit as a murderer. I really don't. I've seen the guy in person. He's a likable enough guy. I mean, you know, I'm not exactly sure what else behind this. You know what I'm saying? One thing I can sit there and tell you is that the official story that they gave me, yeah, there's no way I'm buying that. And that's the official story that everybody buys. And then they'll say you can't talk about it. No, fuck you. I can talk about whatever the hell I want to. That's why I don't care. That's why, as an independent, that's why I don't pick sides in political arenas. You know what I'm saying? If I want to question the Twin Towers, I just question the Twin Towers. You crying about 9/11 is not going to make me, change my mind about that. If I want to question Sandy Hook, I'm going to question Sandy Hook. And I don't care. You can get all the media personalities sitting there saying that I'm what's wrong with the world and all this stuff. No, at the end of the day, you conforming, that's what's wrong with the world. But no, there's no fucking way. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss, man. I forgot this is your show. But there's no way that Chris Benoit had the brain of an 80-year-old with dementia. And I want to go ahead and solidify that point because that's the official story of quote unquote why he did it. I don't think that Chris Benoit was an evil person. I don't believe he would have killed Nancy. Anyways, regardless, and the sheer fact that you expect me to buy that this man has been wrestling for as long as he had been with the brain of an 80-year-old with dementia, and none of the fans caught on to it. Nobody saw, oh, hey, Chris, yeah, nobody, they only saw it after that was the story that they were going to run with. But they even changed the story because I'm sure they were going to have a nice, I'm sure the original angle was going to be like, well, they were going to have a nice, funeral and having, but they switched the narrative that it was a double murder suicide because it was easier. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
Are you still there?
I'm still there. I'm
Yeah.
still there in the comment section. And
I mean,
now,
yeah,
I'm talking about this
they
next time.
flipped the narrative, dude.
I was talking to Cabal. And I was talking about it. I just think it's a conspiracy. I'm a Benoit defender for it, but I just think Ken Summon was behind it. And when he was married to Nancy
I
Benoit,
think he might have.
I think Ken Summon was hitting his wife Nancy. You know what I mean? And that's the point.
I think that
Go ahead.
I think Kevin Sullivan at least knows the truth, even if he wasn't in on it. But
It's okay.
I think by now he knows the truth of what happened.
He is behind this. I just think though he paid Ken Summon to kill Chris Benoit. You know what I mean?
Well, Kevin Sullivan would have motive, no doubt.
So
I'm not saying that he did it though, but he would have motive. That would have to be investigated. You would have to investigate that and clear him.
True. But maybe Rigo too, because William Rigo lives in the same town as Chris Benoit too. So when William Rigo lives in the same town as Chris Benoit, it's kind of suspicious as well. Ken Summers heading by Nancy Benoit, they had a real fist fight. And I was watching that documentary. I was like, "Holy, I don't know that crap."
I mean, I know out of every conspiracy theory that they call it, out of every theory of what could have potentially happened to Chris Benoit, the one that makes the least sense is the one that the WWE Universe and that the Georgia Police Department over there in his local community rolled out for us. That he had the brain of an 80-year-old with dementia. That makes the least sense.
How about
And
Chris
then
Nowitzki?
whenever views, yeah, when you get into the interviews, and this is documented fact, it was out there about them reporting about Nancy's Benoit's death. 24 hours before the bodies were found. About them, Chavo getting his eerie messages and whatnot, and Ric Flair telling, I think it was Chavo, that they lost Chris before the media broke out like that. That Ric Flair said, "Oh yeah, we lost Chris." Yeah, that has to be taken into consideration. You know what I'm saying? So there's it may not be substantiated, but there's enough unsubstantiated evidence there and testimony there to go ahead and do a thorough investigation and find out what this really is, because something smells very fishy. And if you have to make up a lie, like the lie that's been made up about Chris Benoit, then that means that this was more than likely fact. You know what I'm saying? This was a cover-up. Because nobody's going to cover up a murder-suicide. Nobody's going to invent this elaborate story to cover up a murder-suicide. You know what I'm saying? Unless it was like the steroid scandal, which is not what it was. It wasn't roid raging. Benoit had never had a history like this right here. Stone Cold has more of a history of domestic violence than Chris Benoit had. You know what I'm saying? Hulk Hogan has history of like domestic violence and stuff like that. There's so many celebrities, man. But you've never heard that out of Chris Benoit. So it's kind of weird that all of a sudden he swings for the fences and kills first his son and then his wife.
That's true. I'm just doing a review about it. So I like this documentary, but I just think Benoit's death was a conspiracy, which I think it is. But I think CTA kind of. I just think Christopher Nowitzki checked Benoit's brain, so that too.
Now, you listen to Billy Jack Haynes, and Billy Jack Haynes says that Vince McMahon and somebody were messing around with Chris Benoit's wife, Nancy, and that they'd known Nancy for a long time, and that the son of Chris Benoit was actually Vince McMahon's, not Chris Benoit's. Now, Billy Jack Haynes said that, and I don't think that this is true, but he said it was potentially true, is that, the kid was Vince McMahon, so Benoit killed Daniel and Nancy, which I don't think is true, because I think, to be honest with me, if you were going to sit there and tell me, hey, what do you think Benoit would do in this case scenario? I would probably think that Benoit would have probably called up Chavo, would have hung out with Chavo, would have went to one of his friends, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Chris Jericho?
Right, or somebody that was his friend, somebody he was close to. I would suspect he would do that before he would kill, a kid that he clearly loved, according to everybody, and his wife that he was madly in love with. I find that hard to believe that he would do that. I think that, he would probably, he was already scheduled to fight for the ECW championship. So he was supposed to fight for it. He was supposed to fight CM Punk, I think, for it. And so yeah, I mean, I would think that he would call somebody like a Chavo, or like you said, a Jericho maybe, or maybe even a Perry Saturn, somebody that he felt close and comfortable to. That you know, however, you know, maybe Daniel is Vince's kid, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he was targeting Nancy, and Chris found out about it and then tried to stop it, and then he got caught in the middle of it, and so it became a double murder suicide. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe, and the bad thing is people swallow the shit. They swallow it. Oh no, he had CTE, and he had the brain of an 80-year-old with dementia. No, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. And yeah, it just never will. You know what I'm saying? So if
True.
that's not the real story, what's the real story, and why did you make up a fake story? That's what I want to know. Son of a.
All right, cool. I don't know that. So I just think it's kind of cringe. The story's been Benoit's story is ups and downs. The story's just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could somebody kill
Like,
Chris Benoit? Is it kill Eddie Guerrero too? Because Eddie Guerrero died of a heart attack. What did Eddie Guerrero's death?
there's a lot of speculation that Eddie was knocked off too. That they something happened to Eddie, and that Chris found out about it. Chris knew about it.
Yeah, I seen Chris Benoit was crying about it. Chris Benoit was crying. Why God? Why? When I saw that, I like kind of. I just think Benoit was painful. And I saw a documentary. Chargo says he said he was gonna die. It was choking.
Yeah, choking. I mean, yeah, yeah, something happened with Eddie, and I don't know why. Not unless Eddie knew something. But like I said,
heart disease. I agree.
Are you there?
Heart disease or drugs. You know what I mean? But Benoit stuff is kind of scary, suspicious as well. You know what I mean?
It's definitely suspicious.
But the winning process is a joke. We know that the winning process is a joke. And you want to debate because the Smart Busters when you were saying this years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I knew it. Everybody knew it. I mean, that was, like I said, I just prefer to watch, prefer to, like I said, ultimately at that time, whenever I was debating the Smart Busters on the fucking TNA versus WWE, and then they brought it to a wellness policy, but they were building talent in TNA. They don't build talent in WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. But think about it now. They did a good job when Chris Benoit was depressed and he was crying. He was crying. I think they should help Chris Benoit with his depression. I think Chris Benoit died with depression. You know? And Benoit died he was depressed. When I saw when Ricky saw Chris Benoit was crying, remember he lived with the Guerreros. And I think they didn't do a good job with the depression. I had depression too. When my grandfather died, I was crying in depression for a long time. You know what I mean? When Eddie Guerrero died, part of Chris Benoit died with him too, and it did that. It did to me too, at some point, and I got help too. So I just think they did a good job. Didn't take care of with Chris Benoit stuff. I didn't take drugs, but everything's suspicious nowadays. You know, what I mean, everything that Benoit's death. He was his sister-in-law, Nancy's sister, was saying that somebody's out to get him. He was chasing car routes. Someone's trying to steal his kid, trying to kidnap him. Somebody's hunting his family. Somebody's hunting Chris Benoit's. You know what I mean? I think
there yet again, we have to ask ourselves: was Daniel Vince's biological kid? And Vince knew that. Maybe Chris didn't, but maybe Vince knew that Daniel was his biological kid. I mean, if this is the case, then, you know, the incentive, because if it came out, right? Just imagine if it came out, it would be all over the news. It'd be bad publicity for WWE that, Vince McMahon raped Nancy Benoit and impregnated her with Daniel Benoit. Well, you know how bad that would be, dude? People would be saying how it would just probably have totally killed the WWE, for starters. So Vince would have, if he would have at least had to sell his business or watch it collapse. And then that puts him at odds with his daughter. That puts him at odds with Shane. That puts him at odds with Linda. So yeah, yeah.
Because when I saw Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's into it, Chris Benoit, they were crying. They were said that Chris Benoit hopped the relationship when they were dating. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people know the truth by now, but I can tell you right now, the average everyday wrestling fan is not one of them.
It's a lot of things are weird. And speaking of storylines, we good thing because when after Chris Benoit's death, who's gonna be Vince McMahon's legitimate son? Isn't that kind of suspicious? Do you remember the storyline?
That's what, who was that? That was what somebody told me about that. Was Hornswoggle?
Yeah, Hornswoggle. Remember that? Hornswoggle is Vince McMahon's son.
You know, it's kind of like he was taking it was kind of like he was taking like he's saying, yeah, that was me. But yeah, that's what Billy Jack Haynes said, that quite possibly Daniel Benoit's could have been illegitimate son.
Ray Vince did to Benoit?
And then he used it in a storyline.
Mm-hmm. You know what it said? Well, for the storyline, it says Shane and Stephanie having an affair, having a kid. There was one of the writers said he got fired. It said Shane and Stephanie having an affair with each other, have a kid at that time. Vince McMahon wrote it, and one of them got fired. I read it. I was one of those guys. Was it? I think it was Bruce Pritchard who said that Vince McMahon wanted originally had Shane and Stephanie have an affair. They have a child.
Yeah, I remember that. That Vince. Yeah, I heard about that. That Vince McMahon wanted to write a storyline where Shane and Stephanie were having an affair and they had a kid.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And it wouldn't even be good. You know what I'm saying?
It's sick.
Yeah, it would be shocking, but it wouldn't, I don't think it would draw any viewers. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to increase. Yeah, I want attention. No, it's going to turn people off from you.
Yep. Yep, man. It's weird. And I'm just thinking now, this, the WWE company, it's just, it's tiring nowadays, especially nowadays. Vince McMahon's fixed death, and I thought Vince McMahon died. The whole day before Chris Benoit's death, Vince McMahon faked his death too. Remember he did die of his love the limbo?
That was before Benoit killed himself. The day
Yep.
or the
Benoit
show
stuff.
before.
Remember that? They were feeling about Vince
Yep.
McMahon. Isn't that kind of suspicious?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, is suspicious? Do you remember that, Matt?
Yep.
I was crying. I thought Vince McMahon died. Vince McMahon died.
You
And,
cried and I rolled my eyes and thought how stupid it was.
hey, I was a kid. I was a kid. See, Vince McMahon.
That to me, that was one of the dumbest fucking things. Sorry, Bears. That's one of the dumbest things I ever saw in wrestling. I'm sorry.
They,
You cried because it probably could have scarred you.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I was 14.
but it's for kids supposedly.
I was a 14-year-old kid. What? Vince McMahon died? I was stupid back then. I was stupid. I was 14.
For me, I was thinking about, man, it's almost getting close to turn this stuff off.
Benoit Steph. Angle with the congestion Steph. Hold on, I'm gonna screenshot if you want. Because it seems like WWE was playing this for a while. And I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show this. So it's just this is as suspicious as it is, and I kind of saw this the death. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna screenshot it too, if you want. Check this out. I'm gonna screenshot this because it's kind of easy to doubt about it. The death limbo. Oops, I was when the sheet stuff. But I was saying 10 years ago. Vince McMahon stuff was 10 years ago, right? I'm saying? So, and that's before Benoit's death happened,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't that weird?
Right before.
Isn't that weird? It was right before.
He had to come back
it
from the
was
dead.
a week before.
Yeah, it was the week before.
There are three of its against. How in the world it happened before Benoit's death? And that's kind of stupid or what? You know what I mean? That's the reason why I think the
Yeah.
Steph.
Yeah, because I knew it wasn't real. They wouldn't film that if he did blow up. So that was like of my age. Knew it was kayfabe, but that went overboard with kayfabe. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, Vince kills kayfabe. Me and a friend watched wrestling in years. We're sitting there and talking about this, and there's a good reason why. It's because used to tune into WWE. You'd watch Stone Cold, you'd watch The Rock, you'd watch Triple H, and you'd be like, hey, I want to be like these guys. You know what I'm saying? For me, it was The Rock. I think for you, it was The Rock. Dark Horse was The Rock. Some other people liked Stone Cold. A lot of people like Stone Cold. So for them, they would tune in, and you would inspire to want to be like, and it'd make you work hard and, want to get up and be motivated and work out and, get strong to be like The Rock or Stone Cold. Now they lower that criteria to the little acrobats that they have right now. And it's not that entertaining. And it's like, you look at a guy and what are you striving to be like?
Fat.
I mean, Kevin, Anybody could do Kevin Owens. You're not. So it's not anymore inspirational if you're not entertaining. If you're, you know, if you're not telling a good story, and if everything you're putting out is crap, then I'm not going to watch you. And AEW is no better. Neither. They're not any better. They're the same thing. If AEW was smart, instead of trying to compete with NXT, they would be trying to compete the Attitude Era or the Golden Era of wrestling. You'd use that as your metric, not NXT, which is losing ratings. You know what I'm saying?
And AEW is crushing them too.
Barely. AEW isn't even pulling in a 1 million viewers. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing that good neither. But they're only pulling anywhere from 900,000 to 800,000, and rightfully so. Because Cody, it's almost like they're a proxy. I think at the end of the day, Triple H and the WWE are running AEW. I think that's what it is.
Or the Jaguars owners, which Tony Khan is doing a good job.
Yeah.
So
but do you think the Jaguars owner gives a crap about wrestling? No.
But Tony Khan does. His son does.
His son doesn't either. They're just using this as some sort of, I'm going to go do a war with Vince McMahon like Ted Turner did, and we're going to push. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not going to get any more viewers in. And what Russo said is absolutely 110% right. They're probably going to do an invasion angle like they did with ECW, who was working as one of Vince's proxies to get interest into WWE because they were getting killed by WCW.
Heyman was behind this. The Mo.
Yeah.
Because, man, thanks, Matt. Come on, in the comment section. So, Matt.
What's up, Cabal?
Thanks, Matt.
What's up, Cabal? I can't see the comment.
So, here, I'm showing now. Matt is having good things to do. And we just talking about a lot of things. And I saw this documentary. I told Matt, I took a ball. That I'm going to do a show. We're going to talk about wrestling. And the reason why I think Tony Khan's that Chicago's a good wrestling city. You know what I mean? The WrestleMania 2 day stuff, it's a propaganda stuff. I just think Fox and buy WWE or ESPN. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think WWE is going to go. I just think WWE is done at this point. Because
I think they've been done for years, man.
2 days of WrestleMania? Are you kidding me? Who wants to watch 2 days of WrestleMania, dude? Are you even watching 2 days of WrestleMania?
I haven't watched WrestleMania since probably 2012.
I haven't watched WrestleMania probably since I don't know, 2 years ago. I watched it last year.
No, I take that back. I probably watched it. The Miz faced John Cena for the title, and The Rock interfered. What year was that?
That was 2011.
Was it 2011?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2012 was the last year I watched it.
Because I graduated high school when I came back. I boycotted WWE, and then I came back, and my friends at that time came back, so I go watching wrestling to 2011, 2012. And speaking of it, I have the DVD of Chris Benoit of the watch came back, and it was I have this DVD, and I do have this DVD. I still bought this DVD, and hold on, I'm gonna show you right now. It's 2014. Did you see the DVD?
Yeah. I got I got that WrestleMania too.
It was the Rock and Cena 2012. 2012. 2012. It was 2011. The Mets came back, beat Cena.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Still kept the DVD. This kind
Yeah.
of, I don't like this DVD.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah.
that thing I was interested to see. I messed up something at that time.
I thought that
Mm-hmm.
WWE had a chance to come back with the Summer of Punk, but they dropped the ball.
That was 2011. Those are the 11, 12. Son of Punk. Then next year was against Cena.
Yeah.
It could have been Rock against CM Punk for the title of him in WrestleMania. You feel me? You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? I just think
Yeah.
they should have done a better job with the title. I think Rock should be CM Punk, have rematch with Cena, Rock versus CM Punk at WrestleMania 30, and Rock jumping at CM Punk. You know what I mean? And Cena turns
Well,
heel.
the way the way I would have done it was I would have had CM Punk drop the title to The Rock. I would have
Mm-hmm.
had John Cena get upset at the Royal Rumble by Daniel Bryan. You know, whenever he was still with the Team Hell Yeah, he was incredibly over. And I would have
True.
had Daniel Bryan upset John Cena and go on to face The Rock. And then Daniel Bryan would be like the Hurricane Hurricane Helms. He would be that kind of role. And The Rock would be like the Rock Wiz whenever he came back, the heel Rock. He would have been that kind of Rock. Oh, forget this. This guy, your Hamburglar. He could have called him Garden Gnome or something. Do you know what I'm saying? And The Rock could have been a heel, and he could have put Daniel Bryan over. And then you wouldn't have gotten the following year, years after, these beta male wrestling fans hijacking the Royal Rumbles the years after.
I agree with you 100% because I don't know, I just think Rock versus CM Punk will be good. Makes sense. The money wise, but you're right. Daniel Bryan was over too at that time too.
Yeah.
But how about Cena with John to heel? I think so too. You know what I'm saying? I prefer John Cena to go out all Hollywood stuff. Remember John Cena? She should go Hollywood, right?
You you could have had CM Punk turn back face later on and face Daniel Bryan potentially later on for the title.
True. Cena continue heel. Hollywood Cena, Hollywood Rock, turn stable. Remember John Cena and The Rock? Hollywood?
Uh-huh.
You should have Hollywood Rock, Hollywood John Cena. You should go also the Hollywood the biggest heels too. Cena Hollywood, Cena Rock Hollywood. And then you get the Miz, like from the Hollywood like stabilized. Rock, Cena, Miz, right? You got a bunch of Hollywood stars. What we call it the A-listers, right?
Yeah.
They got the paparazzis. Then you got John Morrison. They're the biggest heel stable, right? And then you got CM Punk, the hardworking guy, right? Then you got CM Punk, Daniel Bryan. Then I'll give you guys like say Dean Ambrose with the Ambrose,
Yep.
Dean Ambrose, and Chris Jericho, right? And, and maybe you got them better. Then if you want to do it, you can have Triple H, right? Triple H and Kane joining the Hollywood Rock, the Hollywood studios, corporate. You know what I mean, the Hollywood become the corporate stuff. You got Triple H corporate, Hollywood corporate, Triple H, Stephanie, The Rock, John Cena, Vince McMahon, right? Then you got the heel stuff, Miz. Then you get then you get the Shield, right? The Shield, the babyface, right? Roman Reigns, right? You get the Rock, you got Daniel Bryan, and what's else? Daniel Bryan. And then you get Daniel Bryan, who else? CM Punk, right? The hardworking guys, right? Rich people against the middle class, right? Black, rich, right? You know what I mean? You feel me? Right? And then you got the British Bulldog, right? The British Bulldog, the
Yeah.
rich guys. So imagine you have hero. Imagine you have a corporation, Bret Hart, corporate hearts too, right? Because of that legacy. Then you have Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes, right? The Hollywood, right? The rich guys against the poor guys. What do you think, Poston? Think that would work? Hollywood stable against the corporate Hollywood stable against
But I would have done. I would have. I would have. I would have booked Daniel Bryan to beat The Rock, right? Um,
yeah.
I'd give him at least a three-face run. You know, champion who overcome the odds. I would eventually turn him heel. I would probably have him turn heel on Sheamus. Because you remember how Sheamus beat him for the world title in
True.
like 7 seconds?
Ever.
I have Daniel Bryan take out Sheamus somehow. You know what I'm saying? Like he
True.
remembers it. Sheamus is competing for the title. Sheamus cost him the world title. So Daniel Bryan's not taking any chances now. And so he's just hardcore and he ends up injuring Sheamus by, I don't know, hitting him with a chair, hitting him with like some brass knuckles or something like that. And he ends up injuring Sheamus. And then he puts him in that yes lock or whatever the hell it is, that LeBell lock. And then, you know, he injures and puts Sheamus out. And after that, now he's a heel. And then I send him on his heel run. Actually, Daniel Bryan's a good heel.
He was a good heel. I like Daniel Bryan's heel.
Yeah. As a heel, the guy's really good. He's not as good as a face because he's not organic.
True. How about Bray Wyatt? We're talking about wrestling, so any thoughts? Because I'm wrapping this up. Just talking about wrestling stuff. Any thoughts about Chris Benoit stuff? I'm surprised. Any thoughts, Miss Paulson?
I don't watch wrestling that much, man. So it's in the air right now. I wouldn't know the first thing about how to book this new roster to get any of them over, except for maybe Roman Reigns. You know, I don't know much of any of them, dude. I don't watch it anymore.
I better watch it. I watched the documentary, man. It was very sad. There's depression, the Benoit stuff, the women's policy. You know what I mean? It's very sad.
At least it was watchable whenever people wrestling.
Yeah. It was depression too. That could have been me. This was the Benoit staff. We're talking about the whole stuff. What is going on? That documentary is kind of scary-ish, spookish. But I used to think that documentary was kind of sad. Poor David Benoit. I feel sorry for David Benoit. But that's my thoughts, guys. Thank you guys. Sub Political Champs channel and sub my channel. But I'll talk about more wrestling soon. And the show is over. We're gone. The show is over.
All right, man. Yeah.